Welcome to the channel where it's okay to be an average Joe. My name is Zach, this is Zach of All Trades.
Ever walked away from a game thinking, yeah, I definitely could have won that if I just played it differently? Yeah, me too. That's not about your luck or even your deck. It's about decisions. Big picture calls and tiny in the moment moves. It's called macro and micro decisions. They go hand in hand like peanut butter and jelly, yin and yang. Okay, maybe not pineapple on pizza, but you get my drift, right? In this video, I'll show you how these two work together and how mastering them will instantly make you a better TCG player. Quick disclaimer, when is the last time you saw me top? That's right, never. That's why I interviewed a friend of mine who used to be a top competitive player, a TCG player, to give us some pointers. So thank you so much, Edwin, for sharing these pointers and helping the community to be the best that they can be. To master this, we first have to know what macro and micro decisions are. Macro means big, so these are the big decisions that you as a player make. These are the decisions that overarch your entire game from beginning to end. Micro decisions are the smaller decisions you make along the way while following that arc. We are going to discuss 4 topics that influence your macro decisions, and hey, points for the viewer who can keep score on how many times I use the word decisions at the end of the video. The first macro decision you'll make is your deck choice, and inherent to that, the way you decide to build it. When building a deck, it's important to have your win con in mind and how important it is to reach that win con time after time, consistently. Of course, you can tack in that juicy play if you have the space for it, although it's better to consistently achieve your win con than that one play that only comes up every 1 out of 10 games. The stars are aligned by coincidence and only if you are able to smell the color 9. Another macro decision happens when you see your definitive hand. Instantly after drawing your hand, make a plan to win the game with the cards you have available right now. Of course your deck has a certain win condition, but that's not always available to you every round or game. So don't stare blindly at your win condition. Play with what you got. Kinda like that episode of Metabots after Icky and Metabee discovered they had the Metaforce, and they only relied on that, instead of actually using what they already had. You know, when life gives you lemons. Second to last point about macro decisions I want to point out is to think ahead, like in chess. Think about which play you would want to make before your turn actually starts. Think ahead when it comes to drawing cards. What's your play if you would draw a certain card, and what is your play if you don't draw that card? This means you have multiple game plans that you can prioritize even before your turn starts. A plan A, plan B, and a plan C, if you will. The last macro decision is to always remind yourself to check if you have lethal and how to work towards having lethal. I know, it sounds like a big duh, right? But so many players, including myself, lose sight of that and just try to survive the turn instead of trying to win the game. Focus on how you can deny your opponent the game, or even better, how you can go for game instead. It's like the Cobra Kai philosophy. If a man can't play, he can't win. Okay, I lied. There is one last point that is an actual macro/micro decision, which is very important. Keep your head cool. This has more to do with your mental state. Like if you get squirmy or over-enthusiastic, you might end up making suboptimal decisions or, even worse, misplays. I'll touch on that in another video, which will explain what that means and how you can achieve a good mental game state. For now, let's just go over the micro decisions. The reason why smaller decisions are just as important is because they accumulate to be of impact. 1% is almost nothing, but 50 times 1% still accumulates to half of your game. Keep gathering information by keeping track of open information. This can be your or your opponent's revealed or bottom decked cards, your and your opponent's trash. By doing so, you can estimate what you can or cannot expect. Try making a good habit of keeping track. Lay your trash in order or per X amount. This way, you overview the situation better and faster. Sequence your plays. In Digimon, multiple effects can trigger at once. You, as a player, decide the order of effects. Try keeping in mind what order is the most efficient. We just talked about making well-informed decisions, so most of the times you want to use the effects that draw or reveal first. So you have a full view of your options. Based on that, you can make a more educated decision on what effects triggers next. Bonus example, like say you have a less optimal rookie in hand, but memory to spare. Make the search for the right one before digivolving into raising. Next up, making impactful plays. And no unnecessary choices. Ace Digimon are a prime example. Sometimes you have the opportunity to ace, but is it necessary? Does your opponent win if you don't ace? Does this set your opponent far enough back? The way I met Johnny from No Life Johnny on YouTube, check out his channel by the way, he actually makes better content than me, so it's up to his channel, would make me just as happy. Anyway, the way I met him was during the PT17's run with Omnimon Ace. He was kinda trigger happy / shooting from the hip. He was acing as soon as he could, but that just made him vulnerable for me to counterplay. So manage your resources well. Which brings us to the last tip, which is actually kinda in conflict with the last tip we discussed. But hear me out. Keep an eye out on your risk-reward factor during the game. You know, the no harm, no foul play. There are points in the game where you have plays that's like, if it works, play. But what if it doesn't work? If it doesn't set you up for game, it might bait out your opponent because the play does pressure him and he'll waste resources, which in turn gives you more information, which can help you make better decisions, which can give you insight to the question, do I have lethal? This brings us full circle to macro and micro decisions. To summarize, your deck might be good, it might be bad, but it's your decisions, the big ones and the small ones, that make you a real threat. So next time you play, don't just look at your cards, look at your choices. In the next video, we'll go deeper into something that makes or breaks your plays, and that's how to stay calm, confident, and make better decisions under pressure. If this video helped you out, let me know in the comments, and also share a moment where you knew you misplayed. Share this video so we can grow together. Keep it classy, guys. See ya.
See you next time on Sack of All Trades, reminding you to keep it classy.